Husband kicks wife and son out of the house on Christmas night, accidentally making them rich. Dear viewers, welcome to our channel. Subscribe to receive more stories every day. Snow blanketed the quiet suburban street, shimmering under the glow of Christmas lights. Inside the grand two-story house at the end of the cul-de-sac, the air was anything but festive. Sarah perched on the edge of the leather couch, her hands trembling as she held a red envelope, a Christmas card she'd bought for Marcus, her husband. But Marcus, seated across from her in a tailored suit, wasn't in the mood for sentimentality. "I'm done, Sarah," he said coldly, his voice slicing through the silence. "I can't keep living like this." Her heart sank. She had hoped they'd finally enjoy a peaceful holiday together for Liam, their 6-year-old son. But Marcus, with his ever-growing ambitions, was relentless. "Living like what?" Sarah whispered, clutching the card tightly. "Living with someone who has no drive," he snapped, standing abruptly. "You've been content with mediocrity since we married. Look at us. You're still baking cookies in your aunt's little shop while I'm out there making real money. It's embarrassing." Tears stung her eyes. She had poured her heart into that bakery after her parents' sudden deaths. Her aunt had taken her in, and the shop had become her sanctuary. But Marcus had always belittled it, dismissing her passion as a childish hobby. "Marcus, it's Christmas," she pleaded. "Can't we put this aside for Liam's sake?" "No," he barked, his voice rising. "I've had enough. I'm not spending another holiday pretending this is a family. Pack your things. Take Liam and go." Her breath hitched. "You can't mean that." Marcus's steely gaze left no doubt. "Do. Take your cookies, your dreams, and your excuses and get out." Sarah's knees wobbled as she stood, her vision blurred by tears. Upstairs, Liam's voice carried through the house, humming a carol as he played with a plastic firetruck. She swallowed her sobs and forced herself to stay composed for her son. The wind howled as Sarah carried Liam out to their aging car, the boy clutching his favorite stuffed reindeer. "Where are we going, Mommy?" he asked, his wide blue eyes glistening with confusion. "To Aunt Maggie's bakery," she said, forcing a smile. "We'll spend Christmas there. It'll be fun, just like when you helped me bake cookies last time." Liam nodded, though his small hands gripped the reindeer tighter. He sensed something was wrong. The drive to the bakery felt endless, the snow piling higher with each passing mile. Sarah's thoughts spiraled. How had they come to this? She had given everything to support Marcus, standing by him as he climbed the corporate ladder. Yet, he had thrown her and their son out without a shred of compassion. When they arrived, the bakery stood dark and quiet, its windows fogged from the cold. Sarah unlocked the door, and a wave of nostalgia hit her. The bakery had always been a haven, a place filled with warmth and the smell of fresh pastries. Tonight it was all they had. She lit the small Christmas tree in the corner and wrapped Liam in a blanket near the ovens to keep him warm. As he drifted to sleep, she rummaged through the pantry, her hands brushing against bags of flour and jars of sprinkles. The bakery was stocked for the holiday season, with enough supplies to make hundreds of cookies. Sarah's fingers hovered over a container of royal icing as an idea began to form. The next morning, Sarah woke to sunlight streaming through the frosted windows. Liam sat at one of the tables, coloring with crayons he had found in the bakery's play area. "Mommy, are we making cookies?" he asked, his face lighting up. Sarah hesitated. "We might," she said softly, her mind still racing. She needed to do something, anything, to distract herself and Liam from the reality of their situation. She rolled up her sleeves and began mixing dough, the familiar rhythm of baking soothing her nerves. By the time the first batch came out of the oven, the bakery was filled with the smell of gingerbread and cinnamon. Liam giggled as he decorated cookies with wobbly icing lines and candy buttons. As they worked, a thought struck Sarah. Every year, Maggie's bakery sold Christmas-themed treats, but they had never gone beyond their usual customers. What if they did something different this year? She pulled out her phone and took a photo of Liam holding a plate of cookies, his cheeks dusted with flour. Beneath the picture, she wrote a caption, Christmas cookies made with love. Visit Maggie's Bakery to make your holiday sweeter. She posted it to her personal social media accounts and tagged a few local groups. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Within hours, her phone buzzed with notifications. Friends and acquaintances commented on the post, sharing it with their networks. "These look amazing," one person wrote. "Do you deliver?" another asked. Sarah blinked, surprised. Deliver? The bakery had never done deliveries before, but why not? She quickly responded, "Yes, we can deliver in the area," and set to work packaging the cookies. By evening, she had filled a dozen orders, driving through the snowy streets to drop them off. Each delivery brought in a little cash, and every bit counted. For the first time in weeks, she felt a flicker of hope. But the real surprise came the next morning when her post caught the attention of a local influencer with thousands of followers. The woman shared the photo, adding, "Supporting small businesses this Christmas. These cookies are amazing, and the story behind them is even sweeter." Sarah's phone buzzed non-stop as orders poured in. She worked tirelessly, balancing baking, decorating, and delivering, with Liam acting as her cheerful assistant. By Christmas Eve, Sarah's small operation was gaining traction. The buzz on social media exploded as photos of her intricately designed cookies circulated among holiday enthusiasts. Each cookie was crafted with care. Snowflakes dusted with edible glitter, gingerbread houses adorned with colorful candy, and reindeer with chocolate antlers. Orders came faster than Sarah could handle. People wanted dozens of cookies for parties, gifts, and gatherings. Word spread that the bakery, operating under the nostalgic glow of its holiday lights, was the heartwarming Christmas story everyone needed. To Sarah's astonishment, her story of resilience resonated with her growing customer base. A few kind-hearted patrons left generous tips or shared her tale online. One local news outlet featured her as the Christmas Cookie Queen, highlighting her dedication to keeping her son's Christmas spirit alive despite their struggles. Sarah was elbow-deep in dough when the bakery phone rang. She answered hesitantly, wiping her hands on an apron. "Hello, this is Maggie's Bakery. Hi, my name's Lauren. I manage social media for the foodie experience, and we've noticed your cookies blowing up online. We'd love to feature you in our Christmas special." The woman's voice brimmed with enthusiasm. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. The Foodie Experience was a well-known culinary blog with a massive following. "Are you sure?" she asked, half convinced this was a prank. "Absolutely. We're sending a videographer tomorrow to capture your process and hear your story. Is that okay?" Sarah hesitated, glancing at Liam, who was busy stacking cookie boxes. "Yes, that's perfect. Thank you." Hanging up, Sarah felt equal parts exhilarated and terrified. The pressure was mounting, but she reminded herself of why she started: to make Christmas special for her son. The opportunity was too big to pass up. The next morning, the bakery buzzed with activity. Sarah worked tirelessly, organizing her space to look presentable for the cameras. When the videographer arrived, Liam greeted him with a plate of freshly baked cookies, earning an amused smile and a quick photo for social media. The interview began with simple questions. How did the bakery get its start? What inspired the Christmas cookie line? As Sarah recounted her journey, being thrown out on Christmas night, finding refuge in the bakery, and discovering hope in the face of adversity, she couldn't help but get emotional. "I wanted to make this Christmas special for my son, even if everything else felt like it was falling apart," she said, her voice trembling. "I didn't expect people to care so much, but their kindness has made all the difference." The videographer captured heartfelt moments of Liam helping decorate cookies, laughing as he accidentally smeared icing on his nose. By the time the crew left, Sarah felt both exhausted and exhilarated. That evening, Sarah tucked Liam into the small cot they shared in the bakery's office. "Mommy, are we going to stay here forever?" he asked sleepily. "No, sweetheart," Sarah whispered, stroking his hair. "This is just the beginning. I promise." As Liam drifted off, Sarah's phone buzzed. She opened her email and froze. The subject line read, "Partnership Proposal. Holiday Cookies." The email was from a major supermarket chain that had seen her viral story. They wanted to partner with her to mass-produce her Christmas cookie designs for their seasonal shelves. The offer included an upfront payment and a long-term contract with royalties. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as she reread the email. It was more money than she had ever imagined. Enough to secure a stable future for her and Liam. Enough to ensure they never had to rely on Marcus or anyone else again. The next day, the bakery was packed with customers when Sarah heard a familiar voice behind her. "Sarah!" She turned, and there stood Marcus, looking out of place in his expensive coat among the bustling patrons. His face carried a mix of guilt and curiosity as he glanced around the bakery. "What are you doing here?" she asked, keeping her voice calm despite the anger bubbling beneath the surface. "I heard about all this," he said, gesturing vaguely to the busy counter and rows of cookies. "I wanted to talk." "I don't think we have anything to talk about," Sarah replied, folding her arms. "Sarah, come on," Marcus said, lowering his voice. "I didn't realize things would turn out like this. I thought you'd come crawling back, but you're thriving." She stared at him in disbelief. "You thought I'd come crawling back? After you kicked me and your son out on Christmas night?" "I made a mistake," he said, his tone shifting to one of feigned remorse. "I was under a lot of pressure and I wasn't thinking straight. I want to fix things." Sarah's laugh was bitter. "Fix things? Marcus, the only thing broken was your sense of decency." Patrons nearby glanced curiously at their exchange. Marcus leaned in closer, lowering his voice. "Sarah, don't be like this. We're still married. I could help you take this to the next level. Imagine what we could do together." Sarah's stomach turned. "I've already done it without you," she said firmly. "And I'm not going back." As Marcus left, defeated, Sarah took a deep breath. She glanced at Liam, who was handing a customer their order with a proud smile. This was what mattered: her son, their happiness, and the future they were building together. The next day, Sarah signed the contract with a supermarket chain. The deal included a clause allowing her to retain creative control over her recipes and branding, ensuring her cookies stayed true to the heartwarming story that started it all. The morning after signing the contract, Sarah found herself marveling at how quickly life could change. She had gone from being a heartbroken woman with no clear path forward to a business owner making headlines. The partnership with the supermarket chain wasn't just a financial blessing. It was a validation of her hard work and resilience. She was now responsible for overseeing the production of her holiday-themed cookies, and she was determined to ensure they retained the handmade charm that had captured so many hearts. Liam, sensing his mother's renewed energy, was happier than ever. He spent his days in the bakery, chatting with customers, helping pack orders, and occasionally sneaking a cookie or two. For Sarah, seeing him smile made every sleepless night worth it. The news of Sarah's success spread like wildfire, and soon, the local press wasn't the only one interested in her story. National media outlets began calling, requesting interviews to share her journey with an even broader audience. Sarah reluctantly agreed, knowing it could help further her newfound business. She shared her story again and again, being cast out on Christmas night, finding solace in her aunt's bakery, and discovering a way to turn her pain into purpose. Her interviews inspired countless people. Letters and emails poured in from single mothers, struggling families, and aspiring entrepreneurs who found hope in Sarah's perseverance. One letter, however, caught her attention. It was from a well-known philanthropist who had watched her story on television. He wanted to meet and discuss potential opportunities to expand her business while helping other women facing similar challenges. Sarah felt overwhelmed by the possibilities, but she was determined to make the most of them. As her business grew, so did the demands on her time. She hired a small team to help run the bakery and manage the increasing number of orders. Liam, ever the curious helper, insisted on being part of the action. He spent afternoons learning how to mix dough and decorate cookies alongside the new staff, much to their amusement. Marcus reappeared a week later, this time with a new tactic. Instead of pleading with Sarah directly, he brought a lawyer, claiming he was entitled to a portion of her business as her legal spouse. Sarah's hands trembled as she read the letter outlining his demands. It was as if he had completely forgotten what he had done to her and Liam just weeks ago. Rather than panic, Sarah called her own lawyer, who assured her that Marcus didn't have a case. The bakery had been built on her effort, with no contributions from him, financial or otherwise. Still, the idea of facing Marcus in court made her stomach churn. On the day of their court hearing, Sarah walked into the courtroom with her head held high. Marcus sat on the other side, his confident smirk grating on her nerves. He likely thought he would intimidate her, but Sarah had faced worse than this. When it was her turn to speak, she recounted the events of Christmas night, describing how Marcus had thrown her and Liam out into the snow without a second thought. She detailed the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, and the sheer determination it had taken to build her bakery into a thriving business. The judge listened intently, and when Sarah finished, there was a long silence in the room. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue that as her spouse, he had a legal right to her success, but the judge was unimpressed. In a decisive ruling, the court dismissed Marcus's claims, granting Sarah full ownership of her business. Walking out of the courtroom, Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Marcus approached her outside, his confident demeanor replaced by desperation. "Sarah, wait," he called. "I didn't mean for it to come to this. I was wrong. Please, can we talk?" She turned to face him, her expression calm but resolute. "You made your choice, Marcus. Now I'm making mine. Liam and I don't need you. We never did." As she walked away, she felt a sense of closure she hadn't realized she needed. Marcus was no longer a looming shadow over her life. He was simply a part of her past. Back at the bakery, the holiday season was winding down, but Sarah's work was far from over. The supermarket chain had already requested a new line of cookies for Valentine's Day, and she was brainstorming ideas with her team. The philanthropist who had reached out was now partnering with her to create a program that offered baking workshops and mentorship for single mothers. The program, named Sweet Beginnings, quickly gained traction, with women from all over the community signing up to participate. Liam, now an unofficial mascot of the bakery, loved telling customers about Mommy's big plans. Sarah laughed every time he explained how she was going to make cookies for the whole world. Months later, Sarah stood in the middle of her bustling bakery, watching as customers browsed the shelves filled with her creations. She thought back to that cold Christmas night when everything seemed to fall apart. What Marcus had intended as her downfall had become her salvation. She bent down to hug Liam, who was busy showing off a tray of freshly baked cookies. "Mommy, are we happy now?" he asked, his innocent eyes looking up at her. She smiled, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. "Yes, sweetheart. We're very happy." As she looked around the bakery, filled with warmth, laughter, and the smell of freshly baked cookies, Sarah realized she had created more than a business. She had built a life, one filled with love, resilience, and the promise of brighter days ahead. And it all started with a Christmas night she thought she'd never survive. Her success wasn't just an unintended blessing. It was a testament to her strength and the power of starting over. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe to our channel to receive more stories every day. Share with us what you think of this story.